Hello everyone, my name is Rakhshan. I'm the author of this lovely new book by the Emma Press called My Sneezes Are Perfect. I wrote this book with my 6-year-old son, and it's been illustrated by Benjamin Phillips. The book tells a story of a small boy who's moved from the Netherlands to the United States, and they're getting used to a shift in language and culture. And just as they're in the midst of adapting to all these different changes, COVID-19 hits. And so now there's another layer of complexity that's added to the little boy's life. And so many of the poems revolve around his experiences of those changes and his experiences with online learning. So the first poem that I'm going to read is called School Attire. And I'll show you the illustrations just before I begin. In my online class today, someone showed up in underwear. I'm not going to say who because I'm not a tattletale. Everybody stared and laughed, but at first the teacher didn't notice that anything was amiss. She was talking about Pete the cat and his white shoes and how many sight words we'd learned this week. Then she went all quiet. She said, I would just like to remind everyone in class to wear the appropriate school attire. I didn't understand many of the words she said, but I could tell that this was about not wearing clothes to school and how not okay that was. So this poem is just a little reflection on what is appropriate school attire or what is appropriate office attire, which is like part of a larger conversation that people are having at the moment. And this certainly was something that we also experienced in his class. The next poem that I'm going to read is called Squirrels. Squirrels are furry little bandits who steal my apples and apricots. They hide in the tree, but their bushy tails give them away. They try to be cool and covert, but like James Bond, but actually they're Captain Obvious. I call the squirrel in my yard Guffy. She likes nibbling the mulberries, holding one in both her hands like a small, hairy person. When I tried to stop her, she got startled, did a crazy somersault, and landed on my solar lamp. My dad said, "What the heck?" And then I said, "What the heck?" And then my dad said, "Don't say what the heck, that's a rude word." Guffy was watching us through her dark black eyes, still covered in the fruity spoils of our backyard, from head to toe, but she did not show a morsel of guilt. And there's this wonderful illustration by Benjamin to show the little squirrel bandit. And this poem is also kind of a commentary on spending enormous amounts of time outside and trying to grow fruit in the yard and just being mindful of things happening while in lockdown. This next poem is called Dystopia. I'll show you the picture for it in just a second, actually just now. And Dystopia talks about the concept of having a fun run or a run to raise funds for the school over Zoom, or what having a fun run means in a time when people are no longer allowed to kind of convene in public spaces or run together. Dystopia. The Parent-Teacher Association at my school is having a fun run on Zoom. I used to like in-person fun runs, but I'm very unsure about what a fun run on Zoom entails. My mom said, "Does this mean you have to run in place in the living room while standing in front of the computer? That's dystopian." This means it will be an awful lot like Mr. Gonzalez's physical education class, where we have to do lunges and jumping jacks in front of the computer. Sometimes there's 24 kids frozen in place while doing yoga stretches or running animal laps in their kitchen, with sleepy parents in silly pajamas in the background. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and I wish you a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.